Hi, my name's Brent, and I'm here to count down my top 50 favorite slasher movies. First of all, I just want to say that the slasher subgenre is by far my favorite among the horror movie field. I also want to mention that this is actually my first countdown list that I've ever made for YouTube. It's actually something I've been kind of wanting to do for a while. So I'm really excited to share some of my favorite slashers with all of you. Um, Also, before I get into the countdown, I should say that I've seen, I would say, between 100 and 120 slasher movies during my lifetime. So obviously, there's probably quite a few really good ones out there that I have yet to see. So if there's any great ones that you don't see on this list, it may possibly be because I just haven't seen them yet. Um, I also will make sure I do my best to not, spoil any movies for anyone that hasn't seen some of these on my list. So, I mean, I'll do a description, but make sure that I do not do any spoilers. And then lastly, before I get into the list, I just want to say I'll probably, for the sake of time, just give a short reasoning on why I chose some of my selections between about 50 and I'd say 15, 21, somewhere in there. But once I get to my top 15, 20, I'll probably go into a little bit more detail on why I chose those ones. Well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get in my list here. Coming in at number 50 is actually a movie that I actually watched all the way through for the first time this year, and that's actually Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. I really enjoy the final showdown between Tommy and Jason in this one. It's just a really entertaining movie, a lot of great kills. Number 49, this is actually part of what's probably my favorite horror movie franchise. I mean, it goes to show you how much I think of this franchise because this is actually my least favorite of the franchise, but it still comes in at number 49. That's Scream 3. Um, as I move on to number 48, this one I actually discovered on Netflix a couple years ago. It's called Deadly Detention. Not really, didn't do too well if you look at the IMDb ratings, but it's one that I really enjoy. I think it's kind of like if a horror movie met The Breakfast Club, because there's a lot of stereotypes that are kind of similar to The Breakfast Club in this one. If you ever watch this one, you'll see a lot of the connection between the two. But number 47, Alice Sweet Alice. I actually just watched this one for the first time this year as well. That one came out in 1976. Really great whodunit. Keeps you guessing who the killer is throughout most of the movie. Number 46 is Cry Wolf from the mid 2000s, came out in 2005. Another great one that's just one of those mysteries that keeps you guessing throughout. Number 45, Most Likely to Die, another one that I discovered on Netflix a few years ago. Really enjoy the setting for this movie. I like the story where there's the there's kind of it's based on a 10-year class reunion, high school class reunion, and someone actually starts killing people, and you're trying to figure out who the killer is throughout most of the movie. Just a lot of fun. If you get a chance, I'd check that one out. This one, a lot of people will probably give me a little bit of crap for because I have it so low on my list, but number 44 is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, which came out in 1974. Really enjoy that one. Obviously it's a classic that a lot of people know, but a little lower on my list than maybe some people's. Number 43, Pieces. Ironically enough, the killer in this one uses a chainsaw as well. A lot of great kills in that movie. I kind of wish they would have done the reveal of the killer a little bit better, but still solid movie. Number 42, Deep Red. It's a 1975 Giallo movie. Really, really like the whodunit aspect of that one as well. It keeps you on your toes, if you will, guessing who the killer is throughout that one. Number 41, another one that I really like the setting. This one's called The Mutilator. I like the beach house setting. It's kind of a goofy one that I really enjoy. It's got some funny lines in that movie. As we move on to number 40, the original Town That Dreaded Sundown came out in 1976. I think the main reason I enjoy this one is it's actually based on a true story in Texarkana. Uh, I just think it's just a nice vintage type slasher that I really enjoy. Number 39, a lot of people will probably disagree that I have this one so high on my list, but saw this one in theaters a few years ago. It's called Hellfest. Another one that I really just enjoy for the setting. Great setting for that movie. Like the carnival. It's a really interesting one. If you ever get a chance to see it, or if you haven't seen it, I'd give it a shot. Number 38, just discovered this one this year, The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Actually just really another one where I enjoy the setting of the movie. It was filmed, or the movie takes place during Christmas break at a college, and it's one of those ones where you're trying to figure out who the killer is, and it's just a lot of fun. Number 37 is actually the newest released movie on my countdown, Freaky. I saw that in theaters about a week ago. I think Vince Vaughn really made this movie. I think he was really good as when he switches bodies and the girl is in him. I think he plays a really good goofy character with goofy lines when the teenage girl is inside his body. Number 36, this is a classic everybody knows, probably seen at some point, the original Psycho from 1960. This one I give a lot of credit to Anthony Perkins and the job that he done as Norman Bates. I think that's one of the more iconic slasher movie characters. I just really enjoyed it because of him, and then obviously the twist ending's really good. Number 35, one of my favorite horror slasher franchises as well is Halloween, and it's the Halloween 5. That's the one that comes in at number 35. Actually, when I was a kid, I think I enjoyed this one the most in the series, but as I've matured over the years, really appreciated some of the other ones more, but still a great movie. Number 34, the original Friday the 13th. I really just enjoy, kind of the twist ending in that one. A lot of great kills, also by Tom Savini. He's really a legend in the makeup department and some of the kill scenes in some of these movies. But number 33 is Black Christmas, that came out in 1974. This one should get a lot of credit because it actually was kind of the one that led to sort of the slasher craze of the '80s. It came before Halloween in 1978, and then the whole golden age of the slashers in the '80s. Really fun one. Coming in at number 32, The House on Sorority Row. I really enjoy that one because of also kind of like Black Christmas. Really cool setting with the sorority house, and that one's just a lot of fun. 31, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Just another really fun one that kind of came out of the rebirth, if you will, of the '90s slashers that started with Scream. Number 30, this one I just discovered this year. I think I'd have to say this has the most twists in any horror movie that I've ever seen, or at least any slasher I've ever seen. It's Happy Birthday to Me. Came out in 1981. Probably about 4 or 5 different twists in this movie. Just a lot of fun. Number 29, I'm going to go back to my favorite horror movie franchise, or probably my favorite horror movie franchise. It's Scream 4. I think, they didn't make one for, there was a, 11-year layoff between the third one and the fourth one. I think they did a really good job to, separate this one in the kind of like the atmosphere from the ones that they made back in the '90s. Really great whodunit, just like the other 3 in the franchise. As I move on to number 28, Stage Fright. Really enjoy this one. There's a lot of great scenes in this. I think the one that stands out to me, if you've ever seen it, is actually there's a key scene near the end where the main character's trying to find the key to get out of the building, and when she finds it, it's just a really fun, interesting scene. But great movie. If you haven't seen that one, I think it's kind of underrated in my opinion. I don't know a whole lot of people that's actually seen that movie. I would check it out if you get the chance. Number 27 is April Fool's Day, the original one from 1986. This one is unique in its own way, and like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it at that. But one of the more unique slashers I've ever seen in my all the years that I've seen slasher movies. Number 26, this one actually probably wouldn't even be in my top 50 after the first time that I watched it, but I've really come around on this one, and I've actually bought the Scream Factory edition of it. It's Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original. Really came around on this one. Really enjoyed the character of Billy, and it's almost like you kind of sympathize with the killer in this one, which is kind of why I like it. He seems like a really nice, kid, but just kind of has issues from when he was a young boy, and like I said, I kind of sympathize with him. Great setting with the Christmas theme as well. Number 25. For the longest time, I actually liked the original in this, or of these, better, but I've really come around on the Town That Dreaded Sundown remake. Came out in 2014. I think the main reason this one ranks so high on my list is because of the ending. It has one of the better twist endings I think I've seen in a horror movie. Just when I thought I knew who the killer was, it's it threw me for a loop. But number 24, actually the only one in the series that I have in this countdown. It's the original Nightmare on Elm Street. A lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on that. I actually have seen Dream Warriors, and it just for some reason didn't do it for me. I'm not a huge supernatural slasher fan, but the originality of this one I really enjoyed, and I like John Saxon. He's a great actor. then obviously Robert Englund did a great job as Freddy. But yeah, that's the only one I actually have on my countdown. Number 23 is the remake of My Bloody Valentine that came out in 2009. Actually, saw this. I was a senior in high school when I saw this. Um, great remake. I like the original a lot better, but really good job with this one. It's one of my favorite horror remakes, actually. Number 22 is Friday the 13th Part 2. Really like the final girl in this one. Um, just a lot of fun as well. Great kills. Not a whole lot more I'll say. Just other than I just enjoyed the characters and a lot of fun with this one. Number 21, just discovered this one this year on Shudder. If you haven't seen this, I would really recommend it. It's called Haunt. I really fell in love with the characters in this one. I really enjoyed rooting for a few of them. Um, just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the setting of the haunted house. Like I said, if you have Shudder, I would really recommend seeing that one. Number 20, I actually just bought this Scream Factory edition of this one. Always loved this movie. Urban Legend. Another really unique slasher from the 90s. I always enjoyed the whodunit and slashers where you're trying to figure out who the killer is. I really enjoyed that aspect of this movie, and then the kills based off urban legends I thought was a really cool story idea for a movie. Number 19, I think this one's kind of an underrated slasher. It's Slaughter High from 1986. I really just enjoy the revenge story in this one. It's just a lot of fun. All the way until the final scene. It's just a great movie throughout. I had a lot of fun with that one. Number 18 is actually my second favorite Friday the 13th movie. It's part 3. The opening scene. I love the soundtrack at the beginning. Really catchy music at the very beginning. And just a really entertaining movie throughout. I haven't not seen it in 3D, but that being said, I really had a lot of fun with part 3. Number 17, Halloween Part 2. Really good, really good sequel. You could probably argue this is the greatest sequel in slasher movie history. Obviously, the first one was, incredible. Actually, I would almost say that I probably like the final act in this one better than any of the Halloween movies that I've seen. With Michael Myers catching on fire, I thought that was really cool ending, and then they got the Mr. Sandman, song as the end of the movie happens. But actually, ironically enough, coming in at number 16, Halloween 4. I've actually really come around on this one a lot. I've always enjoyed this one, but I think I've moved it up a lot in the last few years. I really enjoyed the opening scene where it shows, just kind of goes around the town of Haddonfield and has a really cool background music. And then the final scene is really cool with the young girl Jamie and kind of her square off, I guess you could say, with Michael Myers. But a lot of fun. Number 15, it's actually a modern day slasher. Happy Death Day. I think what makes this one unique compared to some of the other slashers that I've seen is it has a few really feel good moments in this movie. It's like you don't see that very much in horror movies. You just see somebody get get hacked off or slashed off, get killed throughout the movie. This one actually has, I guess, I don't know if lack of a better term, maybe heart in this one. I really enjoy that about Happy Death Day. That one's a lot of fun to me. Didn't like the sequel quite as much, but the first one really great. Number 14. This one's kind of always had a special place for me. It's the 2005 remake of House of Wax. I think one of the main reasons I really enjoyed that one is it came out in 2005, which is kind of during my mid-teenage years. I would have been about 15 when this movie came out, so it's kind of always had. I always kind of enjoyed that, some of those early 2000s slashers. So I can kind of relate with that time period and some of the actors from that time period. Really liked the characters in this movie. They were a lot of fun. The Wax Museum and Wax House is just a lot of fun. And actually, it's kind of funny. This is the first movie that me and my wife watched on our first date, so that also makes it special to me. Number 13. I really enjoy this one a lot. It's not rated real well on IMDb, but another one from the early 2000s, Valentine. I just really enjoy the story in this one, and it keeps you guessing on who the killer is for most of the movie. And it's like just when you think you know who it is, it's almost there's something that happens that makes you think maybe you were wrong, and then at the very I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. At the end, you're kind of like, oh, well, maybe I was right, but it's just a really unique ending and a lot of fun. Number 12, just watched this one actually for the first time this year as well. It's another camp slasher. I have quite a few camp slashers on this countdown. But The Burning, that one's a lot of fun. It's another one that has Tom Savini doing the special effects. He did a great job with this one. And it has a young Jason Alexander, most of you know from Seinfeld, and he actually has hair in this movie, which is kind of cool to see. But I really like the opening to this and how it sets up the rest of the movie. The raft scene. If you've ever seen this movie, the raft scene is like one of the more memorable scenes in a slasher movie, in my opinion. Just a lot of fun. Number 11, I think I've had this rated a lot higher than most people, but Scream 2. I always have a lot of fun with this movie. I really enjoyed the killer reveal in this one. You kind of have this fun, back and forth between Sydney and another character at the end. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to give away too much on that. I'll just leave it at that. A lot of fun with that movie, though. Number 10, actually, I really enjoyed this remake. Saw it in theaters when it first came out. It's the Halloween remake. I know a lot of people, on this one, it's kind of like you either liked it or you didn't. I really enjoyed it. A lot of great, kills in this one. Really, really entertaining movie for me. I like the final act a lot, and I like how they brought back Laurie Strode and Jamie Lee Curtis to play that character. It's a lot of fun. That movie, if you haven't seen it, I'd really recommend it. Number 9. This one's actually classified as a giallo Italian movie, but I consider it to be a slasher, is Tenebrae. Came out in 1982. This is Dario Argento's, this is him at his best. The opening theme song to this, or just the theme song, or just the score throughout the entire movie is just incredible. The kills are great. I like, John Saxon's in this one again. Great characters. Really enjoy um, the I would say twist of this movie. There's something about the twist in this movie that I've never seen in any other slasher movie that I really like, and I'll just leave it at that. Number 8, this one, the ending is what I think really makes this a great movie. But Sleepaway Camp, another slasher that's set, in the another camp slasher, I should say. Um, I really had a lot of fun with this movie. I really enjoy Angela's character and some of the other surrounding characters like her cousin. But I think the ending takes this movie just like to another level, which puts it above some of the other ones on the list for me. I think it's probably, if not the greatest twist, one of the greatest twists in horror movie history. And if you haven't seen it, you'll really enjoy it. Number 7, a lot of people knock this movie for being kind of slow in the middle, but I really enjoy this one. It's The Prowler from 1981. Um, I really find myself enjoying the whodunit aspect of this, trying to figure out who the killer is, and I also like the beginning, how it kind of takes place in the World War II times, and then you fast forward to 35 years later to present day. I also really there's a few main characters in this movie that I just find myself really latching on to. Really, really good characters. If you haven't seen that one, it's really underrated, in my opinion. Number 6 is Prom Night, the original Prom Night from 1980, not the new one. I really didn't like the new one at all. But the original, it's similar to Silent Night, Deadly Night. What I was saying with that one, it's similar for this one. You really sympathize with, I think, the killer once you find out who it is, and for good reason. I think you sympathize with that person, and you'll see what I'm talking about it if you've ever seen it or if you end up seeing this movie. But just a great characters and great story, I think. Number 5, really enjoy. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's the Slumber Party Massacre. I actually own the Steelbook edition of this. Love the love the Driller Killer. It's kind of a really unique, uh, I guess, toy of choice, or lack for a better term. Killer item, I guess you can say. But really enjoyed the Slumber Party Massacre. Loved the score in this one. It might be my favorite score in a horror movie. Valerie is a character that I really like in this movie. Probably one of my favorite horror movie characters. She's really smart and just a nice character all around. She's got this niceness to her that I really like. But number 4, my favorite in this franchise, it's Friday the 13th, the final chapter. One of the main reasons I like this one is, like Slumber Party Massacre, I really enjoy the characters in this one, especially Crispin Glover's character. I feel like the Crispin Glover dance takes this movie just like a notch or two even higher for me. If you haven't seen this movie, check out the dance that he does. It's hilarious. And the final the final act is great in this movie as well. You'll see what I'm talking about if you've never seen it. But just great all-around slasher movie. Number 3, no surprise here. Some people might be surprised I don't have it higher, but it's the original Halloween. A lot of people probably pick this one as number one. It's number 3 on my list. Really enjoy the shots. John Carpenter just did a great job with the shots in this movie, and I really enjoy the characters. I mean, it was the reason why there was a big slasher craze in the '80s. I mean, not much more I could say about it, but it's just a great movie. Number 2, talked about this one a lot. It's actually the original Scream. This one, characters are great. I think it's just one of those hip, I guess you could say hip, cool slasher movies that really revitalized the genre when it came out in 1996. Obviously, the opening scene is one of the best scenes in horror movie history, where they go back and forth on the phone. Great final act in this movie. I think maybe my favorite character in this movie is Randy. I love when he goes, there are certain rules one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. And that's probably a bad impression there, but really enjoy his character. It's just a great one. That was actually my number 1 for the longest time. Now we get to my number 1, and it actually is funny because I watched this movie for the first time probably about 6 years ago. Thought it was good. I'm not sure if I would say great back then, but I've really come to appreciate it now the next few times that I've watched it. And it's the original My Bloody Valentine. This one for me is just the perfect slasher. It's got everything in my opinion. I really enjoy the mystique of the 20 years ago, the killings that took place 20 years ago, and then they start again. That part's really cool, and then the uniqueness of it being in a mine. I mean, that's something that you don't see in other slasher movies. I love the whodunit aspect, trying to figure out who the killer is throughout the movie. I think what I enjoy actually the most, maybe number 1, or the number 1 reason probably why I like this movie more than the rest is like I think the characters are really, first of all, really enjoyable characters that I really like. I can kind of relate to them. They're all they all seem to have a good time around each other, and the genuineness, if that's a word, but just how genuine the characters are in this movie. Like, you actually get a sense of, like I said, they actually seem to get along really well. You have that tight-knit community in this movie, and then as well, you also get, it's like whenever someone, maybe dies in this movie, I feel like you get this sense that the other characters actually care. I don't feel like you don't see that in some of the other slasher movies, like when a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend gets killed in this movie, you actually get this sense that the remaining characters actually care a lot about those other characters because they're so close. But yeah, just the uniqueness in this movie of it being in a mine, and really love the characters and just their how genuine they are. I think that's a really big reason why I like this movie. In closing, I would just say, if you could, maybe just leave me some recommendations in the comment section below. And if there was, or if there's any chance, maybe you want to, also feature your top 50 list in the comments. I would love to see that. If you want to take on that challenge of making a top 50 list and post it in, the comments below, I'd really like that. Well, thank you a lot for watching my first ever countdown list on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hopefully, chatting with you in the comments. Thank you.